at you about this vitamin C cover-up and what it's done to the health of the planet, and how it's confused all medical science and especially modern pharmaceutical healthcare, which is it's really kind of a fraud, because as I explained in the first video, that every life form runs on electricity, runs on electrons. Its immune functions and run on oxidation. And then in the second video, I went into the benefits of vitamin C, how doses are individual depending on your loss of voltage. And now I want to narrow it down and connect a few dots and play back into the conventional thinking of all these various diseases. Like I said in the first place, disease is oxidative stress. When the body reacts to oxidative stress, it's called inflammation, and another number of factors become involved, yet it's all oxidative stress. It's oxidation, it's the theft of electrons by toxins, poor nutrition, poor metabolism, poor lifestyle choices, and fearful emotions. And so we get involved in this vicious cycle here, which starts with low voltage, acidity, and it leads to hypoxia, which goes back and leads back to low voltage, acidity, and hypoxia. So these are your basic routes. We got a cause and effect planet here, where any kind of defrauding of the public shifts the cause away, replaces it with some fiction, and then creates another fictional solution to it. And so everybody is confused. They're just they're beset with bad information. They're beset with disinformation, outright lies. And when you take this whole ball of too much information that we're in these days, it's nearly impossible for anybody to get to the root of things. And I don't know. It's a crazy world, and it's 99% bullshit and a little bit of truth tossed in. And I'm trying to be the 1% with the truth. It's not easy, because people can't believe that anything could be this simple. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I first found something that actually worked, which was my mega dose of vitamin C orally, add on a few other vitamins and minerals, do dietary corrections, more sunshine, more exercise, and get rid of the fear state in your mind. I mean, if you watch TV, you get scared of 20, 30 different diseases just in a few hours. I mean, the evening news has at least a half a dozen drug commercials, and people are wondering, you know, am I going to get cancer? I'm going to get heart disease. I'm going to get this. I got diabetes. I got depression. I got all this stuff, man, I got to worry about. And that very worry and fear adds to the problem, and it convinces the public that all these diseases have a drug solution to them, when in fact it's a complete fabrication of what science tells you. I mean, this science can't be disheveled and swept away. It's it's fact. I mean, every little scientific fact is from the very basic stuff you learn in high school. You know, that's the way things work. And layers and layers of baloney have been added to that, and now you got a nasty sandwich that that nobody can figure out or get their mouth around. And I'm going to go through a few of these diseases and tell you how they happen. I mean, it's, if you watch popular media and so forth, I mean, these are mysterious. I mean, they'll come up with smoking, bad diet, not enough fruits and vegetables, yada yada. But if you really want to know how these things originate, I mean, start with cancer. That's the apex disease, and it starts with acidity and low body charge and low oxygen, and low vitamin C, and this triggers a hypoxia induction factor in your cells, where they shift their metabolism from aerobic burning of sugar, glucose, and fats into a fermentation situation, even outside of the mitochondria, and they can't produce enough energy to survive. This HIF factor builds more blood vessels into the cancerous area, and that shift in metabolism, that becomes your tumor. And that can happen anywhere in your body, just depending on where it happens to happen. So basically the other diseases that follow the same cause and effect relationship. Heart disease, low charge, low vitamin C. They both lead to that hypoxic induction factor. That's oxidative stress and failed collagen repair. You got high blood pressure. You got thick blood when the charge in your body is low. Your red blood cells clump, they don't flow easily. Your vessels are inelastic, and oxidative stress wears little holes and rough spots in your arteries and veins, and plaques form to protect them. That's the progression of heart disease, and then those plaques calcify, and eventually you have a heart attack, or high blood pressure, and all those nasty symptoms. Now, I told you in the last video that vitamin C is critical to collagen formation and maintenance, which must be continuous. I mean, and that's where your bone broths and soups and things come in, along with a big dose of vitamin C, and you got to repair that. If you're young and healthy and you don't have any inflammation in your body, you just a few thousand milligrams of vitamin C will do it. But when you get into when you start having symptoms, it takes a lot more to recharge your battery. So even in cancer protocols and many other protocols, doctors stress this collagen maintenance, restoring your connective tissues, your bones, your blood vessels, your skin, all your fascia, your joints. It's all part of the deal. And vitamin C is the critical thing, and your doctor won't tell you about it. Arthritis, faulty collagen maintenance. All those little structures around your joints, your tendons and your capsules and so forth, and that's all collagen. It's got to be continually repaired. Otherwise, oxidative stress will wear on it and it'll hurt. All the autoimmune diseases, the lupus and multiple sclerosis, and there's a whole list of autoimmune problems. That starts with a faulty collagen repair of your intestinal lining. It becomes low oxygen, low charge, and if you're not on the right kind of diet and the right kind of supplements and a good gut biome, then your intestinal lining becomes leaky. It's the old leaky gut, and all these endotoxins created by The unfriendly bacteria in your gut leak into your bloodstream where they're not supposed to be. Your body recognizes a threat, and it creates an inflammatory process, and you're running on low-grade inflammation. You know, there's celiac and Crohn's and all these other problems. That's where it begins, and that also feeds into to other low-grade infections in your body. A number of doctors will indicate that some of these stealthy little viruses will continue in your body for forever until that leaky gut is healed. All your infections, you know, infections can't stand oxygen. They can't stand high levels of vitamin C. In fact, every one of these toxins it's a positively charged electron thief. The bacteria, the viruses, the fungi, include all the metals, and you know, things like bee stings and snake bites, and you name it. They're all electron thieves. And when you're low on electrons, you know, you're back into this downward spiral here. So you know, I just have to mention some of these individual diseases because that's the way we think. We don't think in terms of low voltage. We think in terms of these spooky named diseases. We have the symptoms. You know, I have fever, redness, pain. Can't do this, can't do that, and that's the way we think. And it all goes back to oxidative stress and inflammation. So. Shingles. Shingles is that chickenpox virus re-erupts in later age. I know a number of people who complained about that. I tell them hit the vitamin C. So yeah, well, I got better. I mean, you can even rub vitamin C powder into any kind of sore. Depression. That's the low voltage in the brain. I mean. Your nervous system can heal very, very nicely if you get the oxygen and the vitamin C back in there, and get all your enzymes and hormones producing. Your genes can express again once you have the voltage up. And how about gout? Uric acid is overproduced when the body is low in oxygen. And that's an evolutionary adaptation that few people recognize, but that took over once humans and some of these higher mammals lost the ability to synthesize vitamin C in their body like all the other animals. You know, all the goats and chickens and cows and dogs, they all produce their own vitamin C. And when they're feeling ill, that production just rises dramatically to, you know, a pound or two a day even, some bigger animals. So we don't have that, but we do have this uric acid, which is another antioxidant, and that will halt that gout. You'll see it'll stop, because the uric acid will deposit in joints and so forth and cause pain. Somebody's on the call, and it's probably COPD, all these lung problems. You wind up smoking cigarettes, or you're just living in a city with air pollution and little nanometals and things you collect in your lungs and all the other junk. Well, all that has to be cleaned up by the macrophages that live in your lung tissue, and those are powered by vitamin C. They turn around, they release hydrogen peroxide, which is the oxidative side of the balance, and just destroy those molecules, or somehow move them into your lymphatic system and eliminate them. You have neutrophils that wander the tissues, and then they will collect in your macrophages eventually, and be destroyed along with the toxins and any kind of bacteria. You got a pneumonia or lung infection. Well, that's what happens, is those neutrophils can't go anywhere because the macrophages don't have enough charge to handle the overload, and your lung tissues get bogged up with neutrophils, and then you have your bronchitis, and it progresses to COPD, and people don't know what to do about it, and they wind up on taking steroids and all kinds of other harmful drugs. Colds and flus, viruses. Viruses like toxins. In fact, my theory is that a cold is a detoxification event aided by virus, cold virus. So you can't stop a cold. It has to run its course and detox your body. If you have 3, 4, 5 colds a year, you better look at what kind of toxins are lodged in your body. Get a hair analysis, find out what kind of metal content's in your body, and you also check your mineral levels and make sure that magnesium and potassium are way up. Those are the electrolytes that balance out the pH in your blood, and it's involved in so many hormone and enzyme creations and so forth. But that's the common theme, people. It's low voltage leads to low oxygen penetration. You become acidic. All the free radicals destroy your tissues and reduce the function of all your cells, and that's why you get sick. So the answer is definitely to load up on vitamin C, polyphenols, get a good diet, easy on the sugar and high glycemic carbs, because you can't get enough oxygen into your cells to process them. You become acidic and you become loaded with free radicals from that poor metabolism. And that's one of the biggest jokes about our upside down food pyramid, where pizza and sandwiches and bread and all kinds of sugary soft drinks and things of that nature, and you just can't get enough oxygen in your body to handle it. So anyway, I try to steer you in the right direction. Talking about vitamin C, this is the way I buy it. 5 kilos at a time. It's less than $9 a pound. This should last quite a while, but when you're taking 20, 30, 40, 50 grams a day, along with baking soda and a little water, you can use it up. But hey, it's a lot cheaper than anything else, and it's definitely better than having one of these chronic diseases just destroy your life, send you into the healthcare system, and that's a place you don't want to go. I mean, it's just a dangerous, dangerous place. It's anyway. I try to relate all this so you can connect a few dots in your own mind, and hopefully you'll see where the electric nature of all life is involved, oxygen, and what actually causes diseases. And it's not what you think. It's not a mysterious thing, and you're just not gonna get sick out of thin air. There's a reason. There's a cause and effect for everything in the material world. So I had to run this down once I found something that worked in my life, and this worked. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on supplements and oddball diets and alternative cures and herbs and whatnot, and they're all helpful in some way or another. But until you crank up that body voltage, and that's the way I came to look at it, because I found this worked, and I figured out what this does. This is 5 kilos of electrons. So when you crank up your voltage, it makes things work. I live in nature. I'm not I'm not a professional. I'm not a fancy doctor or academic. I mean, I had to work this back out from basic science and reverse engineer why this worked. And, you know, it covers problems on the farm, you know, cancer in the dog, and sick kids, and plants that aren't healthy. It all goes back to the same basic principles of, you know, like I said, nutrition, metabolism, all your minerals, vitamins, and if you don't have it right, you wind up with poor circulation, low oxygen, wastes can't leave your body, your genetics, your glands, your organs won't function properly, and your tissues will just fall apart. You won't have integrity in your tissues. So if you get a chance, kind of look at these words, and maybe that sticks better than the things I say. I like to see a word, you know, in print, and that helps my, you know, feeble memory now, and it's just a little help. So anyway, hope we turn this all around. I've reduced all this really intricate science with all these strange Latin words and so forth into shovel-ready protocol that you can, you know, do it yourself at home for, you know, very, very reasonably, and it's what works. So best to you. Happy Thanksgiving.